ask you about a photograph because this is interesting to me. It's a photograph of you with Josh Gad and Don Rickles.
Yeah.
And what was going on here? What was happening?
I look very red and drunk.
Yeah. That makes 3 of you, I think.
What was happening there? I was having dinner with Don Rickles and his wife, Barbara.
Nice.
As you do. And Josh Gad happened to just come into the same restaurant.
Oh, so Josh was not invited to the dinner?
No, we wouldn't, no. Hey, we wouldn't invite Josh Gad. I don't even know Josh Gad. I met him once very briefly, and he said some very lovely things about the fall. So I knew he's a fan. I'm a fan of his. So he just happened to be walking past, and
I see.
It was like we were having dinner together, so he took a picture.
How did you wind up having dinner with Don Rickles and his wife Barbara in the first place?
They invited me.
They invited you?
Yeah, no, and I was doing a show anyway. Talked about Don, and then he got in touch afterwards, and we became sort of email buddies and spoke on the phone.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I know Don
I know
for many years.
Barbara does emails.
Yeah, right. He's not emailing you. Whoever's emailing you is not Don. He is not your email buddy.
There was an element of surprise when he actually turned up at dinner, I have to say, because I didn't really know who I'd been emailing with.
Right,
We arranged this dinner, and,
Oh, he's the most fun, right? I mean, he's the best. And did he tell you all his stories, all Las Vegas stories and all that stuff? And how did it come to be that a kid from Northern Ireland even knows Don Rickles and became a fan of Don Rickles in the first place?
I know, it's a good point. I'm a big fan of Sinatra and Dean Martin and Joey Bishop and
that era,
those
entertainers.
Era. Yeah. So I guess I spent a lot of time online, Googling stuff of theirs, and when YouTube came along, I used to YouTube stuff about them and interviews and all those comedy roasts were on the original comedy roast.
Right.
And Don was just the one who stuck out for me in all of those.
Yeah, he's the funniest.
He was the funniest guy.
And he's still the funniest.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Do you fantasize about having a life in which you have a group of guys that you could wear tuxedos with the ties undone and go to Las Vegas and maybe entertain a little bit at 6 o'clock in the morning?
That is my life.
Yeah, that is your life.
That's what I do.
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
To what do we owe this?
Well, I just thought since we've last been on the show, someone who's very dear to both of us, Don Rickles, has passed, so I thought we'll have a wee toast to him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love that about you, actually. And I think we bonded over our mutual love of Don Rickles. Yeah. But for you, it's especially unusual because you're much younger than I am, and also you grew up in Belfast, right? Yeah. Which I don't imagine, a lot of the kids growing up in the 90s are digging Don Rickles.
I don't think anybody knows about him outside of me. But my mother was a big fan, and I didn't know this until my mum had died. Years later, when I got into Don Rickles, my dad said to me, I said, my wife had bought us tickets to go and see him in Atlantic City. And I told my dad, and he said, your mum loved Don Rickles? And I'd never known that about my mum, so it was a lovely thing. So
wow.
It obviously passed on to me. So.
Your mother liked insult comedy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that interesting?
It's the best form of comedy.
Well, let's have a toast to Don, shall we? Yes, this is vodka. What do you drink? Very nice.
Thank you.
He would love the fact that we're talking about him right now.
Loves it.
Do you think he ever saw any of the 50 Shades movies?
He told me he didn't, and I was quite pleased about that. Yeah.
I can only imagine him. If he had. You got to know him a little bit, right?
I did, yeah. Very privileged to say that, yeah, and had a couple of great dinners with him and Barbara, and yeah, very special.
Great people.